What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of 27Q alongside that man right there, the two-time Super Bowl champ, former New York great running back, number 27, Brendan Jacobs. On Rich Quinones. We appreciate everyone always locking us in. Don't forget 27NQ on buzzsprout.com, Amazon Music, Spotify, where all your podcasts are found. Kenny Robles, super lightweight, scheduled to join us at about 10. Little potpourri, Thursday night football, week 4 in the NFL, Giants, Packers in London, a little boxing, a little steroids or no steroids in baseball. Big man, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Seems like we got a lot of great topics to talk about. A lot of greatness, a lot of great names associated with a lot of these things, a lot of these topics. So we're gonna, kind of see, go and go through with it, man. I'm looking forward to it. We're coming into this great week of football. My Giants are 3-1, going to London against the Packers, who that seemed to start the season, struggling. Rich, and it seemed like they got it together. They beat a New England team last week. I think 27-24. What are you looking for from Big Blue in London this weekend?
It depends on the quarterback. We don't know if Daniel Jones, he's trying to progress with that ankle injury. Those are always tricky. You mentioned both squads come in 3-1. You experienced a London trip, from a player standpoint. How long does it take to get you acclimated? You turn around, it's a long trip, and then you got to get prepared to play. And if you don't have your starting quarterback, right now the line has the Packers favored by 8.5. So I think a lot of that tells you the importance of a quarterback in the NFL. If Jones plays, maybe that's a 5-6.5 point line, but still, I don't know. I got to wait to see, what the injury report says, where he's listed, the progression that he's making. If he's out there, mobility might be an issue. When you guys played in 2007 against Miami, that field was just ugly,
terrible,
sloppy. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that experience.
So when we went over there, Rich, we were the first team to actually, start the whole London thing off against the Dolphins. It was that 2007 year where, the season we won the Super Bowl, and we go over there, like the game was in Wembley then, and it was a beautiful facility. We was practicing out, I think, at Chelsea Soccer Club. We practiced out there. It was awesome, man. It was a great experience as far as getting a chance to see that. That part of it. The whole game was just a game. The field was not ready for football. That field was ready for soccer. It's not as much tarp being put down on that grass with soccer as it is with football. So the ground was kind of loose, breaking up. It had rained. It was muddy out there. It was a nasty game, but I'm guessing the places that they're playing now, it's a little bit more stable. I saw they played on turf last week.
Yeah.
There was a surface underneath another surface that were turf and lined out for soccer. So they took that part out and then painted the lines in on the football field. For a football field. So I guess the ground is a little bit different now than what it was then when I played.
As far as like getting over there, was there an issue getting your body acclimated, the time difference to travel? Did that take a day or two? Do you remember what, did you guys leave on a Wednesday? Was it a Thursday?
I think we left the goal. on a Wednesday there, and we were there. So we had to, and Coach Crawford, mind you now, this guy is leaving the day before. Like, we flying out to the West Coast. Damn it, we leaving on a Saturday afternoon, 6-hour flight, figure it out, man, type thing. So so that was kind of, different, but we have been doing that. So we went out to London, which I think it ended up taking us maybe 6 hours. Get there maybe on, but for the time change and getting acclimated to it, that was definitely tough for the first 2 days of it, So,
yeah.
It was a big difference. But we ended up getting there, like I had 151 or 150 yards on the ground that week.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was one of them type games.
Yeah, yeah. But that was the game where the weather is bad. What are you going to do? You're going to put the ball on the ground, right? Ground and pound, smash mouth football. And you mentioned too, you were the first squad to win it over there. I read that this is the first time, I think 6-7 years, and I'd have to double check, that you have two winning teams this point of the season playing with winning records. Both squads, the Giants and the Packers, come in
both winning records. Yeah. The NFL looks to be a little bit more competitive this year, man. I thought it was competitive last year, but it's a little bit more than, a little bit. You don't know who's going to line up and win the game. Like, you can have your choice, and Vegas can make their pick on whatever they're going to do. But You can't just line up and say somebody's going to just single-handedly whoop somebody's ass. You know, the Raiders got them a win, I think, last week.
Yep.
So I think they're no longer winless. So,
Nope.
I mean, let's see.
Yeah, I mean, you look across the board, all the teams in action. You got one undefeated team in the Eagles, and you have one quote winless team in the Texans who are 0-3-1. They've got that tie mixed in there as well. And right now, currently, the Giants, that line's right at 8, kicks off tomorrow night with Thursday Night Football. The Colts and Denver. We'll highlight some of these marquee games. We'll get into what transpired last night with Aaron Judge cranking his 62nd home run, breaking Roger Maris's 61. That mark set in 61 in the AL. We'll do that second half of the show. Also, too, while we wait for Kenny, a little boxing side note. Right now, it looks like that Ben and Eubank fight, I don't want to say it's off, but it appears so because Ben tested positive, and I have the name in front of me too, B. And I mean, this is why, look, you can't have this fight take place. You just can't, because, you know, this is why boxing has limits and weight divisions, but forgive my butchering of it, clomiphene. So it's a woman's fertility drug, which reportedly can increase production of testosterone, muscle mass, if it's taken on a daily basis. So again, you know, the British Boxing Board, they're basically saying it's off. Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they haven't issued a statement yet. I mean, if you don't want to lose credibility with the sport, how do you go on and have this fight?
I don't think you go on and have the fight. I think at this point, no one's going to step up and be a step-in fight for this. I don't know. I really don't know, Rich. I don't know what he does. I mean, I know Ed Hearn, maybe, you know, he thinks it can happen, but if the British Boxing Commission and people there call it off, then what are you going to do? There's not much you can do about it. There's not much you can go over.
You can try to circumvent and kind of sidestep the issue, but again, this is kind of why, you know, the sport implements the limits to certain divisions. I don't know. And it goes back. Now you got to go back and you got to watch his last 3 or 4 fights. And you say to yourself, all right, you took care of Algieri. Granados was a tough fight. This is what happened. It's like when Margarita with the alleged hand wrap, right? You start to, now you put a lot of those fights prior to and after under suspicion, even though he got pinched. And remember, he was suspended. But still, it's always something, man. Right? Still nothing cut and dry with Spence and Crawford. But we can never have nice things as boxing fans. It's just
right. It's always something, man.
It always
is. And you know, we have. I mean, Conor Ben is, you know, he's an undefeated fighter, man, and I mean, he has a really nice upside to him. I'm not sure, but with this fight, I mean, it's a wash with it being so late in the game. I mean, the date was a couple weeks from now, right?
So that fight was supposed to take place this weekend. So that's what makes it. That's what makes it very, you know, the timing of everything.
Yeah, you can't get that in. I mean, even if it was 3 weeks out, it's over. I mean, because you won't be able to get somebody to step in.
Well, yeah, and what they're
boxing,
saying,
I mean, so like these are the things to me, as a real boxing fan, like, you know, guys, I don't know, for whatever reason, that they're getting caught up with, with these situations, you know, that kind of hurt, you know, boxing. But at the same time, I mean, guys have been trying it, and some guys have been getting over with it for years. So you never know, man. Some guys think they can pull it off, and some guys get caught.
And as they're saying, the B sample has yet to be tested, so meaning no rule violation has been confirmed, and not yet banned by authorities. But again, I just think it's one of these situations where you want to take the sport serious, and just knowing that a kid just passed away in Colombia, right? I mean, you don't want to add fuel to the fire. And if this, I guess you can say, drug gives you muscle mass and increased production of testosterone, now all of a sudden you're going in there, talk about, you know, your punch output, talking about, you know, your strength. maybe you're getting stronger as the rounds are progressing, and instead of 30 jabs, it's 60 jabs and 100 power punches. I mean, so it's like you said, it's always something.
Yeah, always something, man. You never know. Guys always looking for an edge, whether they say they're using it for that reason or admit to using it for that reason or not. Some guys say they're sick and they were prescribed this that has this in it, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
Try to get away with it, Rich. I guess.
No. I hear you. So we're hoping to hear from Kenny Robles, New York native, good-looking young fighter. He's got a pretty interesting backstory. You talk about guys. We had Damon on last week, talking about the adversity outside the ring. We had Jesse, who is still fired up, talking about his stuff, and we'll get to Kenny in a second as he a couple moments. And he's got an interesting backstory, as I said, where we always talk about some of these fighters who are, trying to have careers and raise families and, work full-time jobs and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
sure, he's locked in for a couple moments. And I'll tell you though, while we're waiting for him, the conversation last night, man, with Jesse, he was
fired up, wasn't he? He was fired up. And he had me actually like, he really feel like he ready to knock this guy out like right now, So that should be, I wish they can get in there, Rich. I really wish they can get in there and fight it out. It seemed like there's a little bit, it's some history, some big history there, so I would love to see it, the second time around.
Well, I think with a guy like Jesse, he looks at it as a risk to reward fight.
Right, absolutely, as you should.
Right, a risk to reward. So we'll see if Kenny can dial back in, but a risk to reward fight. And at this point of his career, he had the Joe Smith fight. That didn't go his way. He, tried to stockpile a couple wins after that. 32, 33 years of age. I mean, you want to you don't want the 6 or 8 rounders anymore, right? You want to try to jump to the 8 or 10 and maybe get back a regional belt, because he was always that fringe contender, and the fight's got to make sense.
Absolutely. It got to make sense, because you can't go train and put everything on the line, going through that whole, that physical, mental, and emotional beatdown, and to only receive something that's not worth it at the end doesn't make sense. So at this point in their careers, where they are, it definitely has to make sense, and somebody got to be able to walk away, with some kind of dollars behind the whole thing. Because, just to fight a guy you beat already, just to say you did it, it got to have some, some stuff, it got to be worth it.
Yeah. But that's another thing too. Some of these guys don't want to fight on local cards anymore, right? They don't. All right. There we go. We got our guy, Kenny Robles.
Past that point, right? Past that point.
Yeah.
You started that way.
Exactly. See, Kenny, I always say sometimes, right? You guys got to jump in and then jump back in. You're good to go. We got you. You're perfect. Can you hear us? Now he's working on the audio. It's always the audio issue. There he is. He's connecting to audio. So we'll see if we can punch him up.
There you go.
There you go. You good, Kenny?
I'm in.
All right. My man. Finally, man. I always say, I don't know what it is with this friggin' Zoom, man. You guys got to dial in and dial back out, but I'm glad we got you for a couple moments. Thanks for jumping on 27 and Q. And of course, Brandon Jacob.
Kenny, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man? How's everything, buddy?
Oh, man, life is a box of chocolate, my brother. Everything is great down here in the southern part of the country in Georgia. Just living life, man. That's all I can do.
That's it. How's the weather out there?
It's all right, man. So it's coming in the fall, so it's not too hot. It get a little cool in the morning, but throughout the day, 70, 75, like that. It's been really good.
Well, New York weather, it's crazy.
Right. Trust me, I know.
You gotta wear Timbs with shorts on out here.
Yeah, I'm talking about some hoochie daddy shorts at that.
Hey, Kenny, you got a great backstory. First of all, we appreciate a couple moments, man, and congrats on the win. I know,
Thank you.
kind of a tough fight and an outcome against Jerome Conquest, right? Couldn't continue, but hey, it is boxing, right? You got to take the W's when they come. And I kind of look at, you rebounded from a loss. You had a couple wins in a row. This has kind of been your most activity, really, when you think about it in your career, getting 3 fights in. Was it difficult kind of overcoming the pandemic and then trying to get back in the ring and get some fights?
No, most definitely. I think it was hard for everyone, everyone in general in the boxing industry, in the boxing game, to get a fight, because fights will get planned out, then last minute people get COVID, and just, planned fights didn't happen. And then I think I went inactive for almost 2 years. So just speaking for myself personally, it was very tough to stay motivated, stay in shape, you got to eat right, you got to do this, you got to do that, and mentally preparing to say maybe hopefully I could get back in the ring. So it was very tough, I believe, mentally for every fighter in general.
Okay, all right. So, question. So, with all of this stuff going on, guys in boxing, and me, sometimes I get on and we talk boxing, and I used to manage fighters, so I always talk from a managerial standpoint when I make certain comments and talk about certain things. Shakur Stevenson, obviously he was, I think, 1.6 over at the 30 weight class. Now he's going up to 35, right? Do you think that there will be any opportunity for Shakur to move all the way up to 140 and be able to survive at this point, being so small?
Think
he can make that jump?
I think so. Floyd Mayweather did it. Floyd Mayweather's not the biggest guy, but he's by far one of the most talented individuals, And I think Shakur, he's just naturally, fundamentally talented. He's quick, he's fast, he's a counterpuncher, he's a southpaw. So he's everything that, would describe your perfect fighter. He barely gets hit. His statistics speaking, defensively speaking, is outrageous. So I think he'll do well from 130 to 35 to 40, and then finishing off even at 47.
Yeah, and I always say, man, because people, I make those comments, I talk about them on Twitter, and people, like, man, you're crazy, and Rich might be one of them, but said that, you're crazy. See, me thinking at a manager standpoint, Shakur isn't that strong. He don't have that much pop behind his punches. So I tell him, I would go up to 140 and try to work real hard and add more muscle where you ain't threatening that weight, where you can get stronger. Like, you can, weigh in at 35, 36 for a 145. You're getting stronger. You ain't got to worry about being over on the scale, and you fighting these bigger guys. And now you're welcoming guys like Tank, Garcia up to you fighting at 40, where you've already been for a year fighting bigger guys. So now they got to walk in the ring, and they don't get the opportunity to be able to go and take 4 or 5 fights, or 3 or 4 fights to get ready to be at 140. So they got to come in and get right to it now, because obviously they're not getting any younger. So I said that if I'm managing Shakur, I'm taking him up to 40 versus 35, because me myself, I don't think all the big money fights have happened to me that I've seen. Guys getting paid a bunch of money is getting made at 40 and 47. Not too much money being made.
No, most definitely. I think that, what he can do is he's in a position where he can pick his fights, kind of, sort of, where he can grab belts. And, he's in front of the line, where if he goes from 130 to 35, he don't got to stop back at the drawing board. He could go right there to the title fight. Yeah. So, but I believe when you do jump a weight class, you want to kind of make the adjustment. So you kind of got to pick a tune-up fight to see how your body adjusts to the weight, the power, getting hit. And some people don't adjust well. Their body's not for it, as far as they can't take the punches, they can't take the power, or they don't have the power that comes with it. So I think Shakur should definitely take 2 fights at 35, even then go up to 40, but do it, in increments, adjust to it. And I think, he's in line to make some beautiful money and some great fights.
Yeah. So what's next for you? So what do you have coming up next? I mean, I know you just got out of there. Any idea of where you're heading?
Well, I know I'm with King's Promotions, a promotional company that's based out in Pennsylvania.
Marshall
Crawford. And he's right now, he's keeping me busy that I've ever been. So I'm grateful. Right now, I'm a fighter, and fighters got to fight.
Absolutely.
I'm not a pick and chooser. I'm just a fighter who wants to fight. So I don't dodge anything. So I have 2 losses on my record. I want to avenge them. I never shy away from anybody. So I want to get my first loss was to a guy based out in Jersey. His name's Dan Murray. I want to grab that back up, and definitely I want to I fought for an NABA title to James Bernardine. I want to get that back, and I want to avenge my losses to keep going.
Yeah,
Hopefully
absolutely.
get something back in middle of November or early December. That'll be my fourth fight for the year, which has been the busiest year for me, which is great. I work, so I work full time and I train full time, and I got a family, so I'm always on the grind. I'm always in the move. I'm always in shape. So I'm looking forward to see what's next.
Hey
You
man,
fought.
well, we're rooting for you, man. Definitely
Thank
27
you,
and
man.
2 is definitely rooting for you.
I
Thank you, man.
remember I called your Golden Gloves. You were at 141 when you won a pair the championship 2016.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, I was gonna go into at 152
Yeah.
for that fight. I actually beat the guy who went to the finals. He went to the finals at 152, and I
Yep.
was gonna go at 152, but I wanted to get my body down to where I wanted to compete at professionally. Awesome.
And you're always, but you're good at 140, right? And I know your father fought at 125, right?
Yeah, I don't know how he did it. I don't even know how you walked around like a toothpick. I do not know. My legs, I have big legs for a lightweight, and I can't even imagine getting down
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's tough. I know it because I mean we used to try to make weight all the time playing, we would go to training camp and we would be, okay, you have to come in between 264 and 260, and 258. And
Yeah,
I'm like 269, 271, 270, like up to like 274, right? So I used to have to lose that weight and just running, and I used to go through the whole month of July. I would just eat watermelon, so it'll fill me up, have natural sugars, and I would just fill me up to keep me from wanting to eat anything else, and then pee it out. So
yeah.
that kept me from putting on the fat. Now it hurt me in the protein area, but when I stepped on the scale, I was in that weight range. I was good. $500 a pound is a lot when you're overweight like that. Beast. So I know about losing that weight, man. Trust me.
You
I,
you
I think
all,
they
you stay in
yeah.
shape all the time, though. You're always in shape. That's the thing. I was telling Brandon before you came on. I said it's remarkable. You're raising a family. You're working 40, 50 hours. You're doing manual labor. You're getting your miles in. You're getting your gym time. Do you ever kind of sit back and say, "Let me give myself a little credit," or "Man, there's just not enough hours in the day"?
There's not enough hours in the day. I think that if I was to sit down and just sit down and relax, for me, the job's not done yet. That's all what I always tell myself. The job is not done yet. So if I was to sit down and see how much I do, I'd probably be lazy. I'd probably think about, holy, I really do all of this. So I really don't even, it doesn't even, go into my mind that the amount of work that I do. I always feel like there's more that can be done. So the relaxation is when I get my 8, 9 hours of sleep. That for me is all I need. And I got a supportive family. They know, what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish. So there's never any, doubt. So I'm just a train that's going. I got to do it while I'm young. I'm 31 years old, so I'm not the 23, 24 as most of these young fighters. So I'm trying to do it while I can do it and do it 100% while I am 100%.
Yeah. Well, man, I tell you what, keep busting your ass, man, and when that
Thank you,
opportunity
man.
comes, you're gonna have to be ready for it. So, hey, I'm behind you 100%, man. I love boxing. I've been involved with boxing for a very long time. I think boxing is the best sport out of any sport there is. Straight. Guys can't pick up. They can't pick you up. They can't elbow you. They can't kick you. It's just you and me in the ring trying to figure out a puzzle to break a puzzle that another guy, has. So, um, a lot of a lot of casual boxing fans, they want to see a lot of guys just get forehead to forehead and just one foot in the
Yeah.
tire, and just wheeling. That type
Yeah,
of fight for me
the
is,
old school.
yeah, right. So I like the art of it. I like the science of boxing, man. So it's definitely a special thing to be able to see a guy just break down another guy in the ring, with science. I love the sport.
I I get the sense, like, just from calling a couple of your fights in the past and then the Golden Gloves and kind of following your career, that you're okay with where you're at, if that makes sense. Like, where your career is at. You understand that you're not a young man, but you want that opportunity, but you're not applying pressure on yourself? Like a lot of young guys, or maybe they think, okay, it's getting late early, so to speak. I'm 29, I'm 30, I'm 31. I only have a handful of bouts under my belt. It seems as though mentally, you're kind of okay with where you're at, and you're just kind of letting the chips kind of fall where they may. I mean, is that accurate, or are you putting pressure on yourself to get more fights, knowing, okay, I've got what, 12 as a pro, I'm 31, let me pick up the pace a little bit?
Well, definitely it's always to stay busy, the intention. And with Marshall Crawford and his outlook with my career, he wants to keep me busy. So that's not even a factor that I got to worry about. As far as, before where I wasn't really getting any fights and it was slow. So the fact that he's keeping me busy, it kind of throws any doubt of, oh my God, I need fights, I need fights, I need fights. I know the fights are coming. So the main focus is making sure that I'm ready and as healthy as possible during each camp and getting the best camp every camp and staying ready. So I've been getting, top-notch sparring with Southpaws, Ivan Gola, Richardson Hitchens, all the guys you can possibly think of in New York, top prospects I've been sparring with, moving with. So I'm working. I'm always grinding and I'm always looking for the top sparring so I can better myself. So when I step into the ring, there's no questions. And as far as everything else goes, I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with staying busy. I'm happy with grabbing wins and letting the chips fall where they may fall because everything happens for a reason. And I think my time will come. I keep on the proof is in the pudding. I train my ass off. So it's gonna show in the ring, it's gonna reflect inside the ring, and it's gonna grab everybody's attention.
Yeah. And see, I was just talking about this, man, yesterday, and I do it, and I talk about it with all the fighters that we have on. Here you got a guy like yourself. You're working a job. You got a family to take care of, and you're trying to find a way to get to the gym to be able to, to make sure you give yourself your best, right? To
Yeah.
have an opportunity to be able to make more money and do what you need to do. And here, this fucking YouTuber can fucking just get in the ring and make this money while guys like yourself dedicate your whole life to it and hoping you get the right opportunity that you need. And all the fighters answer this question good. I mean, they don't answer it with any like this bullshit, like me. I'm saying the whole Jake Paul thing is bullshit, that they just come off the damn making a YouTube video. No, they train and do all this stuff. I get that, but for him to make the type of coin, and I guess he got this good following from YouTube that that helps him make the money. But it's guys like yourself out here that's dedicated your whole life to it. It's not a game to you. It's not I'm gonna see if I can do it type shit. Like, this is your life. If he goes and get knocked out, who the fuck cares, right? He got knocked out. He still walks away with that money. But you, on the other hand, it's your life. You go in there and you get knocked out. You may not get another opportunity. And it's bullshit that he's able to do that and capitalize off of it, right? More power to him, but I still call it bullshit. So what's your thoughts and views on this whole Jake Paul situation and all these guys trying to fight?
It depends. I mean, you could see it from different point of views. From a business aspect, he's helping. He's helping, fighters like people like Amanda Serrano that I've had the luxury of training with, sparring with, and open the doors for women boxing and other fighters that he's signing, and even the Rahman Jr. He gave him, some clout on everything that he was doing, giving or take if the fight happened or not. But I do feel some type of way as far as he kind of got the jump on the pedestal, as far as he got the full limelight, everything went to him, and now all the YouTubers are doing this and making the clout, and it kind of makes boxing into a spectacle. You kind of lose, respect for the art of it when you see people of the, right now, Jake Paul, I give him respect. He does train. He trains like a pro fighter. I give him that. He does what he does. But then you got other people that I don't even know their name, and they're doing pay-per-views. They're selling out events and doing this. And then when you see them fight, they're doing this. So it's like, that is kind of what he brought behind him. It's kind of, it sucks. And it takes away from fighters who, like you said, who train their asses off their whole life and they're fighting for, peanuts.
Right. And that bothers me, man. And I'm not even a fighter. I played football, and my money was all of mine. Well, it wasn't guaranteed up toward the end of my contract. But you guys had to go through amateurs, if you were lucky enough, fortunate enough to make it to, the Olympics, you had to fight these
Club
4 round
shows.
fights.
Yep.
You had to go
Yep.
to fights where you're making $1,500 to $2,000. At the end of the day, consistently, like that, until you got up the way it was, and this guy could just walk in, do this. People, as you say, he's helping boxing. I get all of that, but that sometimes it doesn't change the fact that some of the money, like a lot of guys, like he can make money on YouTube. He never got to get in the ring, right? He does train. They give him that. He work his ass off, but just never have to go through the proper steps. I'm gonna fight this 4 round fight.
No, yeah, of course.
Like this, I'm gonna fight it. I don't know, man.
But
it's just way
it doesn't help
on me.
It doesn't help when you have that social media branding and markability, and you have that type of following where you're talking millions and millions that are subscribing to that channel, watching that channel, waiting to see what he wants to. It's like I said, it is almost like that train wreck, that car crash, that mentality where you see it, you don't drive, you slow down, you want to see what's going on. As twisted as it sounds, he's been able to cultivate that with social media. And then, as Kenny mentioned, and I will give him his just due with this, the fact that he is starting and he really has helped these female fighters and getting them more rounds, more pay, more opportunities, more paydays. But you're right. It's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's good for the sport because there's more eyeballs, but then you're also attracting the knuckleheads that think, hey, this is cool. Let me watch Nate Robinson get his bell rung, or Adrian Peterson take on Frank Gore. I mean, I get it.
See, me being a running back, I would absolutely like that. Now, my action for these guys to go in there and make $200,000, $300,000, absolutely not. I'm not saying that because I'm not saying that. But if they did, more power to them. But me still being a boxing fan, I would think it's comical, obviously. But I know Frank can fight. I know for a fact Frank can fight. I played with Frank. All we did was talk boxing. So I would actually like to see him and Le'Veon Bell get in it and square off. I would love to see that actually.
Yeah, I think Kenny's he's gonna stick with his 8 to 10 rounders and get those regional belts first. Then you can worry about some of the pay-per-view down the road, right?
Yeah. I'll take that for now. I'll definitely take it, man.
Hey, listen,
I'm with that, man. Absolutely.
Before we let you get out of here, give a plug where everyone can kind of follow you on social media and everything.
Well, for social media, it'll be Ken Robles or Ken Bank on the Robles for Facebook and Instagram. Ken Bank on the Robles on all platforms. I'm over there inspiring positivity. Anything if people need help, weight loss, anything, to help anybody, reach out to me.
This guy's doing push-ups and he's getting his miles in on his lunch break at work.
That's what you gotta do, man.
You can't appreciate that. I don't know what you can. Hey, Kenny, I appreciate a couple moments, pal, man. We appreciate you jumping on 27 and Q.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much,
hey,
man.
Thanks for coming in.
No, of course, man. Thank you guys.
All right, you got it, man. Be well. Appreciate it. All right, so there you have it. So good stuff. I tell you, you started to get a little juice there, 27. You started to get a little feistiness.
I love boxing, and I love what boxing. What a lot of guys stand boxing, man. I know I talking like I don't give these old guys a lot of credit. I do give those guys a lot of credit because a lot of these young guys, the sport wouldn't be where it was if it wasn't for those guys with the certain stepping stone that they made. So, I have these arguments and stuff like that, but I respect all those old guys that had the courage and had the balls to get in there and open the sport up to where it is now. So, I'm passionate about the sport and a lot of stuff that fighters go through, man. It me as a fan, it means something to me, man, and that's why I get so juiced up about that.
So I just got a message from Adrian Granados. So he definitely wants another shot at Ben. So we're going to try to get him on the pod too, because I guess he's fired up now with these, this whole failed drug test. By the way, now we're at the midway point of the show. Speaking of failed drug test, so let me get into this. So last night, my guy, All Rise, Aaron Judge hits number 62. AL record, Roger Maris's mark set with the Yanks back in 61. Judge hit 62. There was a ton of pressure. And within the last 24 plus hours, right, all it has been now is, do you recognize this? Or do we still go back and look at Bonds and his 73? Do we look at Sosa, McGuire? Who do we recognize? Is it really 762? Is it Hank Aaron, 755? Listen, to me, for my money, the home run king will always be Hank Aaron. 755, boom, I'm good. So I want to get your perspective on this, even as a player, when these records get shattered. But the steroid cloud be in baseball. I remember in 1998, I'm watching Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire. I'm glued to the TV watching this summer home run chase back and forth. Baseball is back. I'm watching it with my father, living and breathing by every at bat. And you kind of knew, it was too good to be true, right? And you remember the commercial back in the day, the chicks dig the long ball. It's all about the homers. And then it comes to light that there are no friggin' heroes left, right? All these guys are getting pinched for juicing or needles or the cream. I mean, and these guys were Hall of Famers before these accusations, right? So I look at last night, wholesome, rainbows, sunshine, lollipops, and yet you're going to get to talk today. Well, it's really not a legit record. I mean, come on, man. From what we know, this guy's clean, never failed a test, and he just banked 62, and he's a Yankee. So, hey, man, listen, I don't know where you stand on this.
So your stuff is biased, is what it sounds like, because you like the Yankees and the guy.
It's not biased. If it was Mike Trout and the Angels, I would say the same thing. I refuse to recognize anything that Bonds did. And by the way, let me be fair. Alex Rodriguez, Clemens, McGuire, Sosa, I cannot acknowledge those stats and records.
Why not?
Because there's a cloud of steroid. They cheated. They had an edge. You tell me, listen to these numbers. Bonds hit 73 in 2001. McGuire, right. 70 in 98.
So 73 has been the highest so far. No one's broke the record yet.
That's it. So Judge is 62. He's 11 away. He wasn't going to catch it, even though he was on a great pace. So, I don't want to hear the crap because there's so many jaded and skeptical fans because of the steroid era. Celebrate what transpired, but McGuire, Sosa, A-Rod, Bonds, I can't acknowledge their records, if that makes sense.
Okay, so there's three guys, right?
Yeah.
We got Aaron Judge at 62 right now, right? He hit that last night, obviously. But the top is 73 with Barry Bonds. We got Mark McGuire in 98 at 70. Sammy Sosa in 98. 66.
Yep.
Mark McGuire again in 99 with 65. Sammy Sosa in 2001 with 64, right? Yep. So and then you got 63 with Sammy Sosa. So it's three different guys up at the top, and Aaron Judge would typically really be sitting at 4 if you're going off a player, right? So you say, so steroids, I think baseball is a hand-eye coordination sport, right? Obviously, you got to still make contact with the ball for your steroids to even be kicked in. I still think it's pretty damn impressive, home run or not, that those guys make contact with the baseball. So, I mean, steroids doesn't help that part of you.
See, but you can't say that. You're talking about muscle hand-eye coordination, fast twitch fibers. It's still cheating. It gives you an edge. And the fact that these goofballs, Barry Bonds was a friggin' skinny kid with Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden he looked like a walking candy apple with his head. And he was a Hall of Famer before he even took steroids. And then what bothers me the most is how they sit. These players will stare straight into the friggin' camera and tell you they didn't do it.
Right.
And the Mitchell report tells you different.
Right.
Cream clear tells you different. Sticking a needle in McGuire's ass in the locker room tells you different. And I'm supposed to sit there and friggin' kumbaya and say, go ahead, take these stats, stick them in the Hall of Fame. No, not you per se, but everyone else, get the hell out of here.
So Barry Bonds, he had that cream, so where they said that was legal, right? Mark McGwire finally came out recently and said that he was juicing. Mark McGwire was, I mean, so wait, Sammy Sosa still haven't admitted
Sammy
to
Sosa
juicing.
basically pretty much will deny it till the cows came home. McGwire came clean in 2003. Bonds took the PEDs in 1999 and the cream in 2003. All those names were on that big Mitchell report back in the day. And like I said, it's just not those guys. I can lump all these guys. My problem is these guys, Bonds was at 35 years old. This guy hit 49 home runs in 2000. He hit 73 in 2001, 46 in 2002, 45 and 45. Come on, man.
Those goals, damn near 30 something different. And yeah, I get you. I understand where you're coming from. I get it. I mean, but we've been talking about this shit for years with all of these guys with steroids, guys getting popped right and left with steroids, and guys trying to get away with it, trying not to get away with it. And you see it throughout all sports except football.
Well, why is that?
Because they test you for it.
No. But right. But here's my question. If I don't even know how to, if we found out that the greatest receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, took steroids, is his bust out of Canton? Do we forget about Jerry Rice?
Oh man, that's an interesting question.
If Tom Brady and there was something in that friggin' avocado ice cream of his, right? That was the fountain of youth.
With his Salt Life shirt on.
Right? Are we taking his stats away, or Peyton's stats away, or Jim Brown's stats, or Emmitt Smith's stats?
Yeah, you'll never really truly find out if you want to. I don't think you take the stats away. I mean, it's too far up in history.
Okay, so then let me ask you this question. In 98, because the ratings were down, so they wanted the home runs, bring the crowd back. The commissioner, Bud Selig, at the time, pretty much knew what the hell was going on, but he was basically, hey, you know what? We need the ratings. Let me turn the blind eye. If you're the commissioner right now of baseball, Rob Manfred, who happens to be the most gutless friggin' commissioner of sports. I mean, say what you want about friggin' Goodell, but this guy doesn't even like the sport of baseball. If you're the commissioner, if you're Manfred, you want to have a set of balls on you, you know what you say? We're going to recognize Aaron Judge as a single season home run king. We're not going to acknowledge you. Listen, it's there, B, but you don't have to accept it. How's that? If you want to acknowledge it, that's fine, but you don't have to accept it. I, for the life of me, as a purist, cannot look at Barry Bonds and say he's the home run king. I look at a 6', 180 Hank Aaron and say he is the home run king.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, because the guys that got there and they actually, I don't know, Rich. I mean, that's an interesting.
But I asked you about it. How would you feel if, like I said, if we found out after Strahan broke Gastineau's sack record that he was juicing, even though Favre kind of did the Olay. I'm just saying, how would that be treated?
No, I can't. Well, with Mike with Mike, I don't know if I'm trying to figure out.
I'm trying to give you the best example. I mean, you are first of all, the fact that you're not even going back and forth with me makes me nervous. That you're at a loss for words.
I don't really know what to say. I don't really know what to say when it comes. Like, I can't take that from Mike. I can't take that, from Jerry Rice. I mean, I can't. I mean, how do we know steroids was even a part of his success? He might have took it and might not have been a part of his success. He didn't just brutally destroy anybody. He ran away from some folks, but he didn't run away from everybody.
Okay. So, and again, I'm not, and I have to be very careful how I phrase this.
No, you don't. This is our show and you can phrase it how the hell you want to. So let's go.
When you look at some players, and you might have played with them, or maybe they're defensive players, and you see the numbers the stats that they're compiling. And then you start to see the wear and tear and the body start to break down year after year. As a player that played for close to a decade at a high level, that won championships, that's seen it all, is there ever a part of you in the back of your mind saying, you know what, that guy juiced? That guy had to be taken steroids. Look, man, shoulder injury now. Now it's torn. Now he's got the rotator cuff. I mean, this guy was.
And I'm not insinuating that this guy took anything. He's actually one of my favorite people, one of my favorite running backs to ever watch, right? And I just thought it was astronomical healing by him when Adrian Peterson went out with that torn ACL and he came back that next year and rushed for 2,000. Do you remember that?
Everyone was talking about it was a miracle. The
Right,
doctor,
everybody's talking about it as a miracle, but now I know in the NFL you get hit randomly. You might have a guy not get picked. You might have a guy not get picked. So this is how the testing scale is going in the NFL. Which any kind of recreational street drug like marijuana, you take one test a year for that stuff, right? And they give you the first test. I mean, they give the first half of the team, and like from like June 12th, going into mini camp when everyone's there. They test half of the team, and then August 26th on, when you report for training camp, they test the other half. And there's no more marijuana tests or street drug or recreational drug tests. Now, there is times throughout the season where there's like 8 or 9 guys that get picked on a random time to come in and pee in the cup for steroids. It would be a random test. So I'm not sure if anybody in the NFL could ever not just, it's guys that not get picked, but is it guys that take that chance and really don't get picked and go through it? I don't know. But it's really a risky thing for a guy in the league playing football, steroids, because of that one random test.
Did you ever get randomly picked?
I did. I got randomly picked at least once a season.
Really?
Yeah, at least once a season. It was one time I got picked like 3 times in 1 year. Because maybe someone just sat back and had this idea that Brandon was doing something. I don't know. So I got picked like 3 times. It was like throughout the midst of like eight or 9 weeks or something like that.
You remember the year?
It was 2008.
So that was after the Super Bowl. Did you miss any games in 08?
Yeah, I missed like 2.
2? Knee injury?
Yeah.
The knee?
Andrew, I had a sprained MCL. I missed 2 weeks.
Did they test you while you were injured or when you came back?
They tested me when I came back, but I was out for 2 weeks. I mean, it's just sprained MCL. It wasn't.
I know, but
crazy,
I'm just trying to draw. Wow, 3 times in 1 year.
3 times in 1 year. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Or one season. One season. January, February. So you're talking 3 times. Pretty much once every 2 months.
Without in like a 6-week stretch.
Now, when you take those tests, does someone, you go in the bathroom, you do your thing?
You go in the stall, you pee in a cup, you put the stuff on it, wash it, and then give it to them, and then go about your business.
How long
put the name on it.
How long did it take to get results back?
I don't know. I never heard back, Rich. If you hear back, you're dirty. If you hear back.
You know what I meant on that one.
Yeah.
The Peterson thing is interesting. And like I said, you never want to insinuate or speculate, but like I said, there are players, and my buddies and I have had these conversations. We're like, yo, this guy's taking an X amount of calories. He's put on 30 something pounds over the course of his career. Look at the stats. And then all of a sudden the wear and tear and your body starts to break down a little bit, right? The MCL, the ACL, the joints, the shoulder, the sprain, the separation, the surgery. And I guess it's commonplace. The next line of thinking is, the guy's juicing because his body's breaking down.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I would think if you're juicing, I would think things will continue to, what's the point of juicing if it's not helping?
Yeah. Yeah. If you were able to prolong your career and take a pill, let's just say like a steroid, something that said, hey man, I'm going to give you, instead of 7, 8, 9 years, I'm going to give you 15 but your body's going to feel it as soon as you retire, but you might bank a shitload of money. You can break a ton of records, but man, you're going to start feeling this year 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Would you?
Would I take the pill?
Yeah.
Shit, that's hard not to say. It's hard to say no when you know you could have made 8, 9, 10, 12 extra million, 12 million extra bucks. I'm always a competitor.
But at what price? Right? I mean,
I've always been a competitor. I never once thought about I've never even taken the supplement. I remember the boys in high school used to be on this thing called androstenedione. And then they used to take
D-ball.
Creatine too. I never even drank creatine. I'm like, dude, I can't take any of that.
Creatine you get in steak.
I know, but you can go buy. I've never taken creatine ever. I've never taken any kind of supplements to better myself. I just never thought about doing it. I thought never did.
Yeah. That's fascinating stuff. Now I remember, and I think it was, they call it a D-ball and the andro, and I think that's what McGuire took. And creatine. I mean, I took creatine in college when I played sports, even because I love working out, and I'm kind of like a fitness guy with the gym and the weights and everything and staying in shape. But as you get older, now it's more like natural stuff: chicken, egg whites, fish, oatmeal, drinking a lot of water. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, they used to call it was like this rip fuel. We used to take it with Tylenol, and for some reason, I guess it would thin your blood out, so it would give you that pump faster, as opposed to doing like 50 something on reps, right? You get that pump so fast and your veins are like popped out and everything. And then, you had to rush home, shower, put the clothes on, go out to the club while you were still.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. But, and there's guys out there like, so like I like John Jones, let's take it to that. He's been caught having something within the system for like the last, 5 years or so.
Yeah.
He's been, talked about. Why? I have no idea. What I really don't know, and I know I'm bouncing around here with, we're talking about, steroids and drugs and all of that stuff. What's his name? What the wide receiver was picked up by the Patriots, played with the Browns, Josh
Gordon. Josh Gordon with the weed?
Yes. How does he continue to get opportunities?
Everyone wants to know. Because at the end of the day, they say, look, he's big, he's tall, he's athletic. But you're right. That's your epitome of wasted talent. Yeah.
So I mean, he would get like so many opportunities, and I'm like, man, this guy, they picked him up and said, hey, you put these things, and I mean, he was talented though. He was a talented, big, strong, fast guy that can run. Yeah. Just couldn't put that weed down, man. Like, hey. And once you get caught, so if a guy gets caught with marijuana in the system, like say, is a system, right? You're in the system for 2 years. If you test dirty, right? And it was system for 1 year. Where they test you, say if I go and get a DUI, guess what? I'm in the system.
Yeah.
So now you can randomly test me up to however many times you want for weed, steroids, whatever you want. You can test me up to that. So let's say I got a DUI, right? I didn't get popped with weed, but now I got weed in my system because I got a DUI and I smoke weed as well. So now I'm going to take this freaking random test in 2 weeks, and my system is going to be dirty. Here, that's pop, that's strike 2, just like that, right? I didn't get hit with a DUI and then say, well, I got hit with a DUI, so now I'm going to smoke. The smoking was there before that, right? But they punish you for it. It's crazy. It's crazy the way it goes.
Like double jeopardy, man. I can't try you twice.
Like shit, guy been smoking weed since before the DUI. Now he can be tested as many times as you want to test him. Now you find weed. Like, holy shit. So that's how that system goes, man.
That's why they got the off season, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. We'll try to get Adrian on next week. I know we got a couple minutes. Now that was a really good conversation. I know we're a little tight. who knows, man? I know what your schedule. We might squeeze in another episode this week or in the week. I don't know.
Yeah, hey man, it's a very, very good chance that we can do that.
It might
Very
be a
good chance that
Saturday.
we
I'm
can do that.
thinking. I'm thinking it might be a Saturday, which means we can talk more boxing. We can get into the NFL. If you don't,
Saturday is going to be a little bit tough.
okay,
A little bit hard.
Understand.
We driving. The boys got invited to North Carolina State
Oh, nice.
versus Florida State. They got invited to that game in
Okay.
Raleigh. So we're gonna hop in the car and take that little trip after, on Friday night.
Okay.
Watch the game, and I got to drive back to do another show with my boys. Facts Over Field is in the same studio at 1:00 on Sunday. So we got to get right, man.
All right. Well, I know we can squeeze in 20. We'll squeeze in 20. But if we can't, quick prediction, London Giants and the Packers. And let's go on the premise that Daniel Jones is playing.
I'm going to New York Giants 24, Green Bay Packers 17.
Yeah.
I'm going off of defense again, man.
Yeah.
I'm going off of defense again. I'm thinking Danny Dimes is going to play. Saquon Barkley looks great. Green Bay hadn't really showed too much against the rush, their defense wise. So, I mean, I got to go ride the back of Barkley again and get out of London with a win.
Yeah, you're not going to like my prediction on this one, especially if Jones is banged
Well, keep
up.
it to yourself then, Rich. How about that, buddy? Just keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself.
I can't give you my prediction.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I got to be objective, man.
You got to. Go ahead.
I see a 28-13 Packers win.
28-13 Packers.
I just kissed goodbye doing another episode with you over the weekend. So listen.
The wide receivers must have woke up in Green Bay.
Yeah, but again, man, if Jones is out there and they run the football, that line's 8. I don't know, man. Get out of there with a win. That would be fantastic. We'll see how it plays out. All right. So we'll see if we can squeeze in another 30 later on in the week. As always, don't forget, follow Brandon on social media, myself as well. The YouTube channel up and running, subscribers are piling up, 27 and Q. We're on Buzzsprout, Amazon, Spotify, Cast, Podcast Addict, all over the place. You got your other pod with your guys as well. When's that dropping this week?
I don't know. We haven't been, we piled on and did a lot of shows. So just with editing and stuff like that, we got a lot of stuff coming out. I don't think we're going to get together. We're going to get together here Sunday at 1:00 in studio.
Okay.
We got a long list of stupidness, a long list of, as they say, my other host said, a long list of fuckery. That's what it is. A long list of fuckery to talk about.
You can get that. You only get half of that with us, but you get the full amount.
Yeah, right.
You and your guys, right? Hey, also appreciate Kenny Robles jumping on board. We're going to try to work in Adrian Granados as well next week. We got a couple fighters. We're working on some former players as always, but we appreciate everyone keeping us locked in and hope you guys enjoyed another edition of 27 and Q with the 2-time Super Bowl champ from the Giants, Brandon Jacobs. I'm Rich Quinones. Have a good sports night. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Guys, have a good one.